tonight. I'm part of a team called the Conversation Coalition. We're here in Nashville, Tennessee, and what we are is we're a group of atheists and Christians who, the last Thursday of every month, host live events where we pick a topic that is related to theology and faith and religion, and we have live debates essentially in front of an audience for free. Attendance is free and refreshments are free. But tonight I was one of the speakers, and I feel like I finally hit the mark in describing Christianity to people who are Christians or are on the fence, or even other atheists, from in terms of what it looks like. I feel like I finally found an analogy to use that makes sense to both Christians and both atheists in terms of why would you have a problem with it? Like, why would you think it was weird? Why would you see it as a problem? The way that I view Christianity is the same way that I view online dating. And when I say that, what I mean is, if my best friend came up to me and was like, I met someone online, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's great. I'm so happy for you. What are they like? And my friend was like, oh, they're amazing. They're really insightful. They're very powerful. You know, they just have this great personality. They really have great advice. They really seem to have their stuff together. And they actually have given me a lot of advice on how I could improve as a person. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So where did you meet first? What was it like when you first met them? And my friend's like, oh, I haven't met them. Okay. So you talked to them on the phone. Did they have a nice voice? What were they like? Did they seem aggressive? And my friend's like, no, I've never talked to them on the phone. And I'm like, okay, so you've never met and you've never talked on the phone. And my friend's like, no, but they write these just really eloquent messages to me about how much they love me, how much I mean to them, how much they really want to be in a relationship with me. And it's just really like, it just means a lot to me, and it's very meaningful. And so, of course, my first thought is going to be, okay, I don't want to scare my friend away, right? I want them to keep talking to me about this person, but is this a scam? Like, is this a romance scam? Especially because when you think about it, if we are, when we're cautioned about romance scammers and internet scammers, one of the things we're told is, be careful if they start asking you for money. And the Bible asks you for money, right? They ask you to tithe. They ask you to dedicate your life. And so imagine if your best friend comes to you and is like, I met this person online. I've only ever read messages from them. I've never FaceTimed with them. I've never talked to them. I've never heard their voice. I've never seen their face in person. We've never met up. But trust me when I say, believe me when I say, they love me and I love them. I would not believe them. I would not believe them. I would not let them out of the house, right? I would be like, is this person asking you for money? And if they said, no, just tithes, just like a small amount, I would be concerned. I would tell them as their friend, I would say, this doesn't sound right, especially if they started talking about dedicating their life to this person. They're like, not only are we in love, but I've dedicated my life. I've decided I'm going to spend the rest of my life following this person and their advice and their teaching, because I just really think they have good things in store for me. They actually told me that if I date them, I'll get money, I'll get opportunities, I'll meet people, and I'll be able to, hobnob and rub elbows with very successful people. And so I'm going to stick with them because I believe them. You would think they were nuts, right? We call that catfishing. When a person won't talk to you on the phone, they won't FaceTime, they won't give you any indication of who they are as a real person, and then you add the element of, actually, the rules are that you have to believe without meeting them, and you have to believe without seeing them. You would think the person was insane. You'd be like, so a stranger on the internet told you, first of all, you're not living your life right, which automatically is offensive. Second of all, they won't talk to you. They're like, no, actually, I'm purposely not calling you or meeting up with you or talking to you on the phone because I want to believe that you're really in this for the right reasons. I want to believe that you have faith in who I am as a person and that I am who I say I am. And in order to do that, I can't give you any proof that any of the things I'm telling you are real, except for this manual on how to do things my way. You would think they were nuts, right? You would be very concerned for your friend. You would say, please don't spend any more time reading whatever this person sends you. That's inappropriate. It sounds like they're a control freak. And it sounds like you're getting scammed. It sounds like somebody who's just going to keep asking you for money. And you have no evidence to suggest they're ever going to come through with all the promises they have, because that's something about Christianity, is that the whole thing is that none of us are ever allowed to see him or meet him or speak to him in the literal sense while we're on this earth. We're actually supposed to do everything so that in the afterlife we get rewarded for following all the rules on earth. But none of us have proof that anyone else has ever gotten rewarded. It's just generation after generation after generation of people believing everybody else about it. And so imagine if your friend is like, no, I've never met him, I've never talked to him, I've never heard his voice, he won't meet up with me, he has already told me all of my flaws, which I'm willing to accept, and he's actually given me all the rules I need to not be a flawed person for the rest of my life, to actually do better and be better, and to be a better girlfriend for him, even though I've never met him. And also, he's promised me a bunch of rewards, but, like, the whole thing is that I actually get the rewards after our marriage. So, like, we're going to be married for a very long time. I still never get to meet him. Like, the whole rule is that I never get to meet him in person. But at the end, I'm going to get so many rewards. I'm going to get so many. And so you say, okay, do you know anyone who knows him? Like, do you know anyone who's ever met him? And they say, no. And you're like, you don't know anyone who's met this man? And they're like, no, actually, all of his friends have never met him. That's one thing we like about him so much, is that we really just trust and believe that he's just like this amazing guy. And you're like, oh, okay, so he's amazing, and all his friends agree. What has he done to garner this reputation? Like, what was the amazing thing that he did? And their response is, well, he's gonna do it eventually. You would think that was wild. Like, you would think you would intervene, right? Like, if you're a decent friend, you would intervene. Imagine. So if it happens on Earth, it's catfishing, it's getting romance scammed, it's, oh, you must be mentally ill to believe that stuff. It's, why would a 21-year-old, model in LA want to talk to like a middle-aged dude, in southern Mississippi with no job or whatever. But when it comes to your eternal salvation, it makes perfect sense. You just got to believe, man. Stop being such a hater. And that just happened. So what happened was, earlier today, I was watching a catfish show on YouTube, and this lady was describing her online relationship with her boyfriend. And I laughed to myself, and I said, kind of sounds like God. And then I was like, holy shit. That sounds like God. It really does. It sounds like God. I don't know why I sounded like the parrot from Aladdin there for a second. My apologies. But I just wanted to hop on here while it was like still fresh in my mind. I just got home from this debate event because a lot of people came up to me afterward and said that they liked the intro. They were like, hey, that intro, that online dating thing was a really good analogy. And I was like, I just thought I'd hop on here and share it with you guys. So next time somebody's like, how can atheism make sense? How can you not believe Christianity? Like, it's literally written there, like in a manual, yada, yada, yada. You can say that exact same thing. You can say, if I told you that I met a man online who was asking me for 10% of my income, who was telling me how to be a better person, who sent me a literal manual on how to be better, but he never met me, and he never FaceTimed me, and he never sent me any proof of anything related to who he was, and he said that in order to be in a relationship with him, I had to literally just believe him, just because he said so. And all of his friends agreed that he was this great, awesome dude, but none of us had ever met him. None of us had ever reaped the rewards because the rewards come at the very end. You would hopefully tie that person to a chair and not let them out of the chair until they agreed to get off whatever app it was they were talking to that person. But if it's religion, it all makes sense. It's like, of course God wouldn't talk to us. Why not? Why wouldn't he? And also, like, I don't know. I forgot where I was going. That I lost my train of thought. But it's disturbing, but I think it's true. I'm entirely biased, but I think that's a fantastic analogy, and I'm gonna sleep great tonight knowing that I now have a new way of describing the red flaggery that goes on when people describe their personal relationship, because that's the craziest thing, is that it's a personal relationship with God. It's a personal relationship with Jesus, and you have never met this man. Also, there's like an entirely other discussion I thought about, but I won't go into right now, about how, like, why is it that evangelicals who are so worried about, like, homosexuals and the LGBTQ community never think it's weird that God also wants a really close personal relationship with men? Why is that? Because, like, what if he's in the LGBTQ community as well, right? Like, imagine finding out that for 2,000 years you've actually been insulting Jesus. He's like, man, I thought what you had to say on earth was real bigoted shit, dude. And I'm not happy about it. And I think you owe me an apology. Imagine. That'd be wild. But anyway, just a thought for the night. Nothing fancy. Just thought I'd share that idea in case you plan on debating any theists in the next couple of days, especially ones with, like, online girlfriends. Especially, like, do you have a friend with, like, that, like, AI girlfriend in LA who is like, oh, like, yes, this 22-year-old makeup artist really does love me and asks for my credit card all the time. Tell him about that. Also, like, help him too, but, you know, tell him about that analogy I came up with. My girlfriend's from Canada, says Sly Diggity Dog. My girlfriend doesn't go here. She doesn't even go to this school. And I saw somebody else called me a vampire. I learned this year that I'm a vampire, but also I'm a day walker. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna Google it. But somebody said I'm not a vampire, I'm a day walker. Is that better or worse? Let me know what you think in the comments. And I'm gonna go fuck off. I just realized I don't know how to end this. Oh no. Okay, let's see. Oh, there we go. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? And yes, end.